On Thursday, July 30th, 2026, all 55 UEFA member associations gathered for an emergency virtual meeting. Every single one of them took the floor. Every single one of them voted the same way. Unanimous. A full boycott of all FIFA competitions if Infantino's plan to sell stakes in the World Cup to private investors goes ahead. 11 days after the World Cup final, FIFA had announced it was creating a commercial subsidiary called FIFA Forward Enterprise and selling minority stakes to outside investors, including a venture capital firm connected directly to the family of the President of the United States. UEFA called it, "Crossing a line football's governing institutions should never cross." CONCACAF held its own emergency meeting. A U.S. congressman launched a formal corruption investigation into FIFA's relationship with the White House. This is the biggest governance crisis in world football since Sepp Blatter, and it is moving fast. The entity is called FIFA Forward Enterprise, FFE. Under the plan, FIFA bundles all money-making operations of the World Cup, broadcast rights, sponsorship, ticketing, licensing fees into this single commercial subsidiary. It then sells minority, non-controlling stakes to external private investors to raise up to $4.2 billion. FIFA values the entire entity at approximately $20 billion. The scope of what FFE would control: the Men's World Cup, the Women's World Cup, and the Club World Cup. The full commercial portfolio of every major FIFA tournament, consolidated under one sellable structure. FIFA's public framing: investors receive economic upside, a share of the returns, but no governance power. FIFA retains majority control and, in its own words, sole authority over all sporting and regulatory decisions. Infantino called it an offer, not an obligation. He described it as the democratization of football worldwide. The financial incentive built into the pitch to FIFA's 211 member associations is significant and deliberate. Currently, each member receives $8 million per year through FIFA's development funding program. Under FFE, that more than doubles to $20 million for the 2027 to 2030 cycle, rising to $22 million, then $24 million in subsequent cycles through 2038. For smaller, lower revenue federations, that is a transformative amount of money. Infantino knows exactly who he is targeting with that number. The timeline. The plan was first outlined to FIFA members in Manhattan on July 18th, one day before the World Cup final between Spain and Argentina. FIFA set a ratification deadline of September 19, 2026. JP Morgan is named as the financial advisor, the prospective cornerstone investor, a venture capital firm called Thrive Capital. Thrive Capital was founded by Joshua Kushner. Josh Kushner is the brother of Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law. Reports confirm the Trump administration was consulted during the planning process. That single detail turned a governance dispute into something considerably larger. The Kushner investor link is not where the relationship between Infantino and Trump begins. It is where it arrives. The documented timeline of what has passed between these two men since Trump returned to office is specific, dated, and entirely on the record. FIFA opened an office on the 17th floor of Trump Tower in New York City, placing the world's football governing body inside a building directly tied to Trump's family business. FIFA gave Trump approximately $15,000 in World Cup tickets, documented in his own financial disclosure filings. A head of state received gifts from a governing body whose disciplinary decisions he would later personally lobby to reverse. Then, the FIFA Peace Prize. In early November 2025, approximately 3 weeks after Trump failed to win the Nobel Peace Prize, awarded instead to Venezuelan democracy campaigner Maria Corina Machado, Infantino announced the creation of the FIFA Peace Prize. On December 5th, at a venue Trump had unilaterally renamed after himself, Infantino presented Trump with the inaugural award, a gold medal, trophy, and certificate. No selection criteria were disclosed. No candidates were named. Senior FIFA officials were reportedly surprised. The FIFA Council had not been consulted. Then the Balogun decision. Trump called Infantino personally to complain about the red card. FIFA reversed the automatic suspension. Balogun played. Meanwhile, England's Jarell Quansah received a 2-match ban for a comparable incident without a single phone call made on his behalf. One relationship, two completely different outcomes. Trump then appeared at the World Cup final alongside Infantino, watched from a luxury suite, and stood on the pitch for the trophy presentation after Spain's victory. The crowd booed when they appeared together. That is the documented relationship in which Infantino is now proposing to sell a $20 billion commercial stake in the World Cup to a firm connected to Trump's own family. And, on July 26th, a United States congressman launched a formal investigation into whether it constitutes a quid pro quo. UEFA was the first governing body to respond, releasing a statement before FIFA had even published its own press release in some accounts. The language was unambiguous. This crosses a line that football's governing institutions should never cross. The soul and governance of football are not assets to trade, especially with zero transparency as to who gains financially. None of us are the owners of football. It is not FIFA's to sell. The following day, UEFA escalated its language directly, accusing FIFA of using football to enrich themselves and their friends. And then UEFA called an emergency 2-hour virtual meeting of all 55 member associations. Over 50 associations took the floor. FA Chair and FIFA Vice President Debbie Hewitt delivered what one attendee described as a very tough and venomous exposition in favor of a boycott. FA CEO Mark Bullingham also addressed the meeting. When the vote came, the result was clear. 55 associations, 55 votes in the same direction. The official UEFA boycott statement left nothing ambiguous. We unanimously and unequivocally reject FIFA's proposal to transfer ownership interests in the World Cup and other FIFA competitions to private investors. The World Cup cannot be treated as an investment product. It has been built over generations by players, national teams, and supporters across every continent. No part of it should ever be surrendered to private investors. The World Cup is not for sale. It is both irresponsible and indefensible that a proposal of this significance was conceived in secret and brought to the brink of approval without any meaningful consultation with those entrusted with stewarding the game. The FA issued its own statement directly alongside UEFA's. We stand shoulder to shoulder with our European colleagues and fully support the collective view. The FIFA World Cup belongs to football and always will. 55 associations, 0 dissenting votes. The most unified statement European football has ever produced against a sitting FIFA president. A boycott is only as powerful as what it removes. So it is worth being specific about what European absence from FIFA competitions would actually mean, because the numbers make the plan mathematically indefensible without European participation. The first test is not the 2030 World Cup. It is the Women's Under-20 World Cup, which begins September 5th, 2026 in Poland. 6 European nations are currently participating: Poland, England, France, Italy, Portugal, and Spain. If the boycott holds before FIFA's September 19th ratification deadline, these are the first nations to withdraw, not in 4 years, in 5 weeks. The Women's World Cup 2027 follows in Brazil. At least 11 European nations are qualified or likely to qualify, more than any other confederation. Spain are the defending champions. England, France, and Germany would all be absent. The tournament would be commercially unrecognizable without them. Then the 2030 World Cup, co-hosted by Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, with Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay hosting centenary opening matches. 2 of the 3 primary co-hosts are European nations. The idea of staging a men's World Cup co-hosted by Spain and Portugal without European participation is not a theoretical inconvenience. It is practically inconceivable. Investor appetite would collapse immediately. Sports Illustrated stated it plainly. A UEFA boycott would kill Infantino's project outright. Europe has produced the winner of 6 of the last 8 World Cups. Without European teams, there is no commercial product to sell. Without a commercial product worth buying, there is no $20 billion valuation. The entire FFE structure depends on European participation being guaranteed before the first investor signs anything. This is precisely why Infantino set the September 19th deadline, and why UEFA knows exactly what leverage it holds. It used this weapon before. In 2021, when Infantino proposed holding the World Cup every 2 years, UEFA threatened a boycott. That plan was shelved entirely. UEFA is counting on the same outcome happening again. UEFA was not alone. CONCACAF, representing 41 nations across North and Central America and the Caribbean, convened its own emergency meeting on the evening of July 30th. Their stated position: they had first learned of the FFE plan through media reports, not through direct communication from FIFA. They described the absence of any review or approval by relevant FIFA governance bodies as deeply concerning. CONCACAF rejected the proposal, but stopped short of declaring a formal boycott, unlike UEFA. The AFC, the Asian Football Confederation, also voiced concerns, focused specifically on FIFA's governance process. UEFA is reported to be confident that a number of Asian countries are similarly minded. If the AFC formally withholds support, the vote arithmetic collapses entirely. Infantino needs more than half of FIFA's 211 member associations to ratify the plan. UEFA accounts for 55 votes. The AFC typically controls around 47. Together, they exceed the blocking threshold. The plan cannot pass. On July 26th, Representative Jamie Raskin, the ranking Democrat on the U.S. House Judiciary Committee, sent Infantino a formal letter announcing an investigation into mounting evidence of corruption and a potential quid pro quo between FIFA and the Trump administration. The letter covers the Trump Tower office lease, communications between FIFA and the administration, the FIFA Peace Prize, the Balogun red card reversal, and World Cup ticket pricing practices. Raskin demanded Infantino appear for a transcribed interview and provide all relevant documents by August 9, 2026. Raskin's own words to Infantino: "Your election as FIFA president was supposed to mark a red card break from a decades-long culture of corruption." The White House responded by calling Raskin a lightweight and a stupid person's idea of a smart person. Infantino's own response to the entire crisis: an Instagram post telling his critics to meditate, pray, or watch a football match. He called them people spreading hate and false rumors. And then he set the September 19th deadline and waited. So, step back and look at the full picture. A $20 billion plan to sell stakes in the World Cup to a firm connected to the family of the President of the United States, announced one day after the final whistle, with a 6-week ratification deadline imposed on 211 member associations and zero prior consultation with the people being asked to vote. And the response? 55 European associations, 0 dissenting votes, a formal boycott declaration that would make the plan commercially worthless overnight, a congressional investigation with a 2-week document deadline, CONCACAF and AFC both raising formal objections, and a FIFA presidential election in 2027 that, for the first time, may not go uncontested. Infantino told his critics to meditate. Europe told FIFA the World Cup is not for sale. Who wins this one? Drop your verdict below, subscribe, and stay close because this story is moving every single day.